Today I will be discussing how to pass the CSV data to the JMeter. If I want to run parallel execution of multiple clients, and for that I want to pass the different data to my CSV file, to my JMeter, then I can use a CSV file to pass the data to my JMeter application. In my last examples, we have discussed about the recording controller, in which we have specified the without filtering recording controller will record the unnecessary files also, which you have to filter down, and you have to check each and every page, which page you want to keep and which page you do not want to keep. In my last example, we have also discussed that how you can use the recording controller and filter out your request by excluding the pages which you do not want and include the pages which you want. And we have arranged that particular recording controller in a project layout. If you look at this is my last recording we have done. So inside the thread group, we have arranged this this recording, we have arranged in the project format. So what we have done, we have created these steps as a login steps, and I have stored it as a test fragment. Text fragment we have already discussed, which will not execute automatically, and I have to include it, then only it will execute. So I have arranged these requests and I've added the constant timer with it. So if you want to save the test fragment, what you have to do, you have to select all the requests. Some student asked me, sir, our test fragment is not working. The reason is you do not have people save this. Right click and save. And what you do, you save this. Save as a test fragment, which this. But you do not. But what we have to do, instead of saving this, we have to select these files, control and select all of them like this, and then right click on this selected files, and then you will save as a test fragment. Then only it will be included and added, and then you can save it. It is already saved, but I have saved it auto, this one. So I'll use the same name, login test fragment .gmx, and save. Okay, so in that way you have to store it. And then when you have to call it, for example, I want to do the fish shopping, so I have included controller, and include controller is including this login test fragment, and it will be when I will be executing, so this will be included and all these steps will get executed. Okay, now if I check it over here, so in login we were passing the username and the password which was recorded over here. Okay, and in a thread group we are using one user. So it means one user is visiting this page and logging in, so these credentials will be used, user ID, username and password. But if for example I say that two people are visiting to my page, okay, and when two people are visiting to my page and they are performing one visit, but here when we have done the recording controller, it has recorded only single username and password. So what I want to do, I want to pass two user ID and password, and I want to execute it for the two users. So for that, we can create a CSV file. For CSV file, what you have to do, you have to open the notepad and write the column name. For example, user ID is a column name, comma, password is a column, and then username, comma, password. That is the first row data, and if you want to add another row data, then So now we have two users. This is the first record and this is the second record. And this is the first column. So I'll just save as and say pet store login dot csv. We have to save it by the extension of csv and select all files. Okay, so I've saved it by pet store login dot csv. And now what I have to do, I have to add this csv file to my test plan. Okay, so test plan we have already told you is a hierarchy. So if I have multiple thread groups and I want to use that data in all the thread groups, so we can add it in a test plan. So I'm adding it in a test plan. Go to the config element and you will get this first CSV data. Okay. And in CSV data, this is the file name. So we have to browse where is my file name, and we have just stored it by the name of pet store login.csv. This one, pet store login.csv. This has been now variable name. So now this is the important thing. Whatever is your column name you have given first line, otherwise do not write the first line if you want, because if you are using this first line, then whatever is the user, what is the name you have given, you have to use the same name in the variable. So I can copy from here, Control C, and you can see variable name with a comma. So here you have to write the column name. That is important. But if you say I do not want to write the column name, instead of user ID, I want to write UID. Instead of password, I want to write PWD. So, but here there is no UID, there is no PWD here. So it will give you the error. Basically, it will not read the data. This it will take it as a first data and this as a second data. This data will not be read. This one. So if I say two users are visiting, and if I write over there UID and PWD, so it will take it as a data, not as a column name. So it will read this data first and this data second, and this Parag guide will not be read. That will the issue you will face. Okay. So either do not write anything, do not write the column name. Then it will take it as the first data, this as the second data, and you can use any variable name over here. So it's not fixed. So you can use any x comma y. But if you have in the CSV file, if you have specified this as a column name and you want to treat this as a data, that is you want to read this and this data, not this data, then in that case use this way and as a variable. That is very important. Okay, so I've used this as a variable. Okay, then other thing is end of the recycle on end of the file. Recycle on the end of the file means that start from the beginning again. When you have reached the end of the file, for example, if I write 4 users, but I have 2 records only, and I'm using the CSV file, so it will read 2 records, and again because the 4 users are there, so it will again recycle it and start from the beginning. Okay, so you can change it. If you do not want to recycle, you can make it false. Okay, stop thread on end of the execution. That is, if you want to stop, that is as the thread completes the action, it should stop. So you can make it true. Otherwise, keep it as a false only. So I have not changed anything. So whatever things it has automatically taken. So I'm using that thing only. Okay. Now I want to use these variables in this request. Yeah. So what I will do, I will remove this data and add the variable name which I have specified user ID. Like this. Dollar curly bracket and the variable name fetches the data. again dollar curly bracket password. So it will fetch the data from this CSV. So you can take this CSV to the top also. Okay, so you can drag and take it to the top and place it over here. Okay, not necessary, but it will be visible that it is inside the test plan. Okay, so these are the user ID comma password variable which I am using as a dollar curly bracket user ID dollar curly bracket password to pass the value to this username and password from the CSV file. Okay, again I made the changes, so I will select all these requests, right click and save as test fragment, and this is my login test fragment which is included over here. Now in the thread group I have added two users are visiting the page one time. Two users are visiting. Okay, so if I run it and check it that data is passed or not, so let us see. So you can see parallel execution for the two users. Okay, so this is the page called two times, then enter the store is calling two times, then signing is calling two times, then login for this I will show you. Okay, so in login for, so you can see over here what is the request going. Okay, so request okay, it is taking. Now you see there is a problem here. First request it is taking is user ID and password. It means this CSV data, this particular CSV data, it is taking this as a record. But I want this to be taken. So there is a problem. I will check it how to solve it. Okay. Now here it is taking the rolling guide and the password as God is great. So here the data is passed from the CSV file, but this data is taking from the CSV, but it is taking as a first record. Okay, so I'll go to the CSV and I will make this recycle as a false and stop thread on execution as a true, or I'll make it false only. So now I'll try. So I've taken it as a false. Again, it is not taking it. User ID, comma, password, false. Okay, sharing mode, current thread. Let me actually, the problem is that it is taking the first record, so I'm just checking it why it is taking and how we can rectify it. Now it is working. Okay, now it is working. And now it is working. The problem is that here you have to select this one, ignore the first line, because because it is taking the first record, first column name as a record, and it was taking its username and password. So what I have to do, I have to ignore the first line. So we have added variable name and then ignore the first line. So I have just added it as a true. Okay. Other things recycle, so you can work, no problem in that. Recycle, I will just tell you about recycle. If I make the recycle as a first of all, let me give you this report. It is working. So we have added it as a true. That is, I want to ignore the first line. And okay, other things I will explain. So again, I will clear it. And now two users are working. So now you can see here in this login, we are posting the username, role guide, and password. It is taking it from the CSV file. And again, in the second login, it is taking the next data, that is Parag guide and the password. So it means two data it is taking. And one more thing, uh, here the session ID. This is the session generated for the first user. So I'll just copy it. And I can also validate the session is generated or not using the bean sampler. This is the session ID generated for user role guide. And in this, this is the session generated. This one. Okay. For the user, this is the session ID. Same session ID is there for user Parag. So you see, two different session IDs are generated. Yes. This is for the first, this is for the second. So you can check from here that when I click on it, this is the session ID for first, this is the session ID for the second. In the request also you can see this is the same session ID, this one. This one is the same. And similarly here, this one. So now, okay, same. And for example, if I want to validate that this login person is doing the shopping over here, add to the fish. Okay, so I am now going to shopping fish, select fish, shop fish, add to the cart. So with add to the cart, you see there is a session ID here. Again, I am copying this session ID, add to the cart, Control C. So again, I am checking who is adding to the cart. So session is continuing. I am just copying this session for your reference. And again, if I paste it over here, so you see, same login session ID is continuing. Add to the cart. And similarly, if you see over here, uh, add to the fish again, add to the cart is coming. So means two people are adding to the cart, add to the cart. Again, if I copy this add to the cart, this is the second person ID, session ID. Okay. So using the post processor request and pre-processor request, right? So you can get the session ID from the after the login. You can use the post bean shell processor, and you can save this in a variable. Okay, and then when you are uh, doing add to the cart, so what session is generated, who is adding to the cart, you can take it from that variable, the session, and you can compare it to check that session name is same or not. In that way, we can also write the bean shell sampler. And if you look at the my account again, payment also, same session ID is continuing in the payment. Okay, and say payment detail here. So this is a payment detail for the second person. Two payment details are coming. Okay, and same my account. So now this is the ID for my account, and you can check the in the HTML format also. Response data. This is the response data for the my account, and this is the my account. There is one more thing. Order payment, order confirmation, my account too. You see, so two people are called Parag guide and my account Rolly guide. HTML also you can validate, session also you can validate in that way. Okay, my orders. You see, this is my orders for and my orders. Yes. So in that way, using the recording controller, we have recorded and then we can arrange it in my project, and we can add the CSV and can use the multiple users request for it. In the CSV, if I, for example, here, again I will clear it. Okay. For example, in the thread group, I write that three people are coming. but I have two records only. So what you can do, you can make the recycle instead of false, you make the recycle as a true, like this. So what will happen? First, second, and then again it will recycle and take it to the first. Let us try. Okay. This you have we have discussed that I am ignoring the first line. This is always false. This you can make true or false as per your choice. So again I will run. Okay. So if you look at this login and then this login and then this login. So what it is doing, it is taking the same record again, continuing with the same record. Login for Parag, then Roli, and then it has started from the beginning Roli. So in that way, or again if I say I want four people visiting. First login, then second login, then third login, and then fourth login. Okay. One, two, three, four. No. One, two, three, and four. So it is taking the record two times. If inside the CSV recycle, if I make it false, like this. I have not cleared it, so I'll clear it and run it one more time. So here we have written four people logging. So login 4 is called first time, login 4 is called second time, two times only, four times it is not called. So it is called first time, first record, second time, second record, but now it is not calling login 4 again in because data is not available. Okay. So either we have to add two more records to the CSV file, or if I want to use the same record again, then here we can make it true. So that is upon your wish. Okay. And one more thing, if I say, if I say, I do not write this user ID and password, for example. Now I have a CSV file save. Now I have a CSV file without column name. And now if I ignore the first line, it will ignore the first line, and if I make it false here, and I will make it true. Okay. And check it one more time. First and second. Now it is taking the first and second. So I think you have understood what you can do. So you can use this CSV data, and you can pass the value to the test program, and you can also validate the session ID also when the login is generated. And for multiple or two users, two different sessions will be generated. And you can again, when you are after login, whatever things you are performing, same session will continue. In my upcoming next session, class also, we will in the same example, I will also write a code to validate the session. So you'll come to know how we can validate the session also. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much.